Okay, this problem is known as print primes, and basically we'll be entering a number with less than 500, and then printing all prime numbers starting from 2 all the way up to the number that we enter. As a second point, we'll be trying to include a comma to separate each number, and basically I'll be splitting this function into two parts. Well, it won't be a function, I'll just be doing it in main. But the first part will involve printing out the primes, and the second part will involve the comma separation. So first of all, we are going to prompt the user for the value of n, and to print out all primes up to and including n, we're going to need to use nested for loops. So we'll start from I equals 2, going up to and including n for the first for loop, and at this point we'll use a bool variable isPrime and set it to true. When I mentioned the nested for loop, our second for loop is going to be used to check if one of these I numbers is prime. And if I is prime, then we'll be printing out that value of I. The for loop conditions are starting at 2, check is less than I, and incrementing check each time, our check variable each time. If I divided by our check, if I divided by check leaves a remainder of 0, then it's not prime. Basically, we're using modulo function to see if something is prime or not. If I modulo check is equal to 0, then isPrime is false, and we'll break out of the loop to help save on time. Very minimal amount of space, given that it's from n equals 2 all the way up to 500. Now, after we've gone through that loop, we'll do a check. If our number is prime, if I is prime in other words, then we're going to want to print it out. So far, if we put in up to 19 instead of 18 in the example, this is displaying all primes up to 19. However, we're looking for the comma separation, and there's quite a simple but effective trick to make sure that we're putting a comma in between each number. So first of all, we'll set up a bool outside these nested for loops called first time. First time, of course, is true. Before we print out the first result, we don't need a comma. But then before we print out any other result, we will be putting a comma. So to help facilitate this, if it's not the first time, we're going to print out a comma, and then set first time equals to false, regardless. So on the first time we go through, we're going to have first time is true. If it's not, we're not going to be printing out a comma, and then first time is going to be set to false. And then on every subsequent time that we print something out, we're going to have a comma printed out just before we print out the number, in which case we won't need our little space between our numbers. The comma separation should be adequate. So let's have a look again, and let's choose a slightly higher prime number. Okay, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. That'll do for now.